deep with a chance to possibly return this kick. Parker Greco joins him as well. And for the Colts, it's Miguel Arredondo to kick it off. And we are underway for the final time this year on Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals. And this is Greco from the 10-yard line. He's got room out across the 30. Look out. Greco into the open field and cut down at midfield. A nice return and a great start by Lafayette. It was Carson Weaver downfield on the stop on special teams.
Weaver, good hustle, but not until Greco returns it here to midfield, about the 49-yard line of Lafayette. So they'll have great field position to start the game.
Ramblers
Here's
come
your
in.
starting lineup. Sorry, Chris. Big Woody's starting lineup. Dawson Pendergrass, and again, Kalis Finley, number 4. Keep an eye on him.
Lafayette 2-6 on the year, 1-4 in region play. This offense averaging 19 points per game, averaging better than 200 yards rushing per game. They're the number 2 rushing team in the region. Here is Finley, and Finley gets across the 50-yard line, falling forward to about the 47. We're going to see a lot of him tonight, Scott. He's averaging 29 carries per game, 1,057 yards. As you get a look at the Coahulla Creek defense, Chevy Joyce across that front. He's a good.
Kareem Bradley, the linebacker, is a playmaker big time.
Joyce had 3 sacks against Gordon Lee. Low snap, and Dawson again to Finley. And Finley will spin his way. He's got first down yardage inside the 40. Give him about the 39-yard line and a first down for Lafayette.
Man, Tyler Douglas on the stop and a host of Colts, but well, you see why Kalis Finley is so important to this team. He just keeps the leg drive going, and it seems like he might move that pile. And there's probably 6 or 7 Colts on defense trying to stop him.
They scored 34 unanswered last week in a win over LFO. They won it 34-21, and Finley with 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns on the night. He gets the first 2 carries for Lafayette and picks up the first down. Here he comes again, finds a crease, and he'll get to the 32-yard line.
Danny Leidy on the stop, but boy, until Finley picks up a nice chunk of yards, about 8, so it'll be 2nd and 2, looks like. Ramblers on the move here to start this opening drive.
Season got off to a good start for Lafayette. They beat Chattanooga in game 1, and then they have since, they hit a little bit of a slide before getting that second win of the season last week. Here comes Finley to the left side, and Finley stops shy of the 30. We'll bring up now 3rd down, about 3, maybe 4 yards needed for the first.
Levi Lowry on the stop from his defensive end position. You can see Levi.
Opening drive for Lafayette. Been a little bit of a tough year for the Ramblers. We talked about that 6-game losing streak as the snap goes straight back on the Wildcat. Here's Finley now with first down yardage to the 26-yard line. In talking with Coach Andy Scott this week, Quake, one of the things he said is he said, I feel like if there's anything bad that could happen, it has happened to us this year. It hasn't been the injury bug like they had last year.
Right.
It's just been a lot of bad luck. They've lost 2 region games in overtime, just haven't quite been able to get over the hump.
Right, and you know how that snowballs, too. You get one of those happening and maybe a bad fumble here and there, and all of a sudden it starts a mental game with you, but they got the CHI Memorial first down right here.
Finley to the left side, caught behind the line of scrimmage, wrapped up and rolled down. Nice job by Coahulla Creek's Levi Lowry.
Lowry again comes into the game with 8 tackles for a loss, and you see how active he is on defense. Just in this series, he's already made 2 or 3 stops and takes it very seriously. Senior defensive end.
Coahulla Creek 4-4 on the year, 3-2 in region play, giving up 22 points a game, allowing opponents to run for 156 yards. This is Jones, first time we've seen him trying the right side. Short game before he's knocked down. Braden Jones on the carry.
Ranger Bickford on the stop, the junior cornerback, number 22.
They were able to go with a wildcat with Kalis Finley on the last third down. They were able to convert. This Coahulla Creek defense making the switch from the 3-3 to a 3-4. Scott, you talked about Karim Bradley at linebacker. This is a good group of linebackers at Coahulla Creek. Here's Pendergrass to throw, and it's incomplete at the 20-yard line.
Porter Centel was his intended target there. More like a slot receiver, just a little bit thrown in front of him, so it brings up fourth down here. So kind of that no man's land we talk about. Do you punt it here? Do you try and kick a field goal? Depends on how you feel about that kicker.
Ethan Rainwater has come on the field. We'll see what they elect to do. Rainwater, the kicker, he's been a good one.
I mean, Rainwater, that's a cool kicker's name,
Isn't it?
right?
This will be a 41-yard attempt. We watched him in warm-up connect from about 35. I get the feeling this may be the limit for him from 41 yards. Middle of the field, they'll snap it on the fake. Rainwater to throw over the middle, and it's an incomplete pass at the 15-yard line. And LaFayette will turn it over on downs. A 9-play drive ends without points for the LaFayette Ramblers.
And way to bow that neck for Ricky Holliday's defense out there. And they'll get the ball back.
Well, Scott, look, coming into this, you're Lafayette, you're 2-6 on the year. This is one of those where we kind of wondered if we wouldn't see things right. You're gonna empty out the playbook today. 7:43 remaining in the first quarter. Coahulla Creek ball when we return. Lafayette with a 9-play drive to open the game. It ends with a fake field goal attempt. And Coahulla Creek now set to take over. Make sure you stick around for our halftime report. It's presented by Jax. We'll have our Johns Recycling Scholar Athlete of the Week. Plus, we'll spend some time with Josh Rowe back in the studio. He'll get you caught up on some of the other games happening around the area as we get a look at this Coahulla Creek offense now for the first time. Chase Ward, the quarterback. Here's Ward rolling out, throws on the run, has a receiver there across the 30-yard line, going to his belly as he makes the catch.
And I'll tell you, they talked about Chase Ward's arm. That was to Keith Collins, by the way. Chase Ward's arm, dual threat kind of guy, so he can run it, but boy, that was a nice throw. There you see your Big Woody's starting lineup: Chase Ward, Karim Bradley at running back, and as we said, Keith Collins contributing on that catch there. But all three of these receivers will get some action tonight.
We saw Coahulla Creek last year. Chase Ward was a linebacker. Here he is to throw, drops it off, short out of the backfield. Tyler Douglas, and Douglas chased out of bounds on the near sideline.
Dawson Losh chases him out of bounds from his middle linebacker position. And for Lafayette, Coach Andy Scott told us that the linebacker is their deepest position, so you're going to get some play out of these guys. That's Dawson Pendergrass right there, one of their safeties that you're seeing middle of your screen. But then you just see the lineup and some of the names that I just called there. Thank you, Big Woody's, for your sponsorship all year long with our starting lineups.
Coahulla Creek has had some success throwing the football this year. They average 152 yards a game. That's second in the region. And they go on the ground, finding room to the left side is Danny Leidy. And Leidy out across the 35-yard line. Give him the 36 or the 37.
Lost with another stop there. But Leidy, he is a sophomore, and he kind of goes in and out with Karim Bradley. They rotate real well, so both of them are fresh by the time fourth quarter rolls around, and has really contributed a whole lot. Leidy is somebody that Coach Drew Carter spoke of highly and says, man, he's got a great future here at Coahulla Creek.
Yeah, somebody that's kind of worked himself into a bigger role as the season has gone on. Here's Ward again on the handoff. And crashing straight ahead to the 40-yard line.
Leidy stopped by Ben Foley, defensive end for the Ramblers, junior. Like we said, Leidy getting back-to-back carries.
Coahulla Creek at 4-4 on the year, 3-2 in region play. This offense averaging 24 a game. Mentioned their success in throwing the football, averaging nearly 300 yards in total offense a game. They've been pretty efficient this year offensively, and Ward has done a nice job. Only 2 interceptions against 10 touchdowns, so he's done a nice job taking care of the ball. Here he is to throw now,
Big
being
pressure.
pressured on the rollout. Ward looking downfield, loading up, throwing deep, middle of the field, got a man, and he makes the catch at the 20-yard line. Keith Collins came down with it.
Incredible catch by Collins, the senior wide receiver. Just a phenomenal athletic play because he was triple teamed. And kudos to Chase Ward for saying, pump it back. You'll see him go deeper. I'm going to throw this thing. Now watch him. Go, get on back. Chucks it. And Collins with the nice athletic play in coverage.
Oh, and Lighty is hammered as soon as he took the handoff. He was nailed in the backfield.
Looked like Cody Davis, actually. 6 foot, 220 pound. Coach Andy Scott calls him a thumper, a tush hog. Just take a look at him. Is that a tush hog right there? I'd like him on my team. That was a shot. He just divvied out to Lighty, making a statement after that big, long throw and catch. Here, let's take another look at it.
Boy, there's the big throw
that's
downfield.
the catch, yeah.
Collins.
Well, that's great to hang on to it by Keith Collins.
And it's 13 tackles for loss this year now for Cody Davis. And a big hit, 2nd down and long for Coahulla Creek. The screen, far side, complete.
Collins
He's
again.
upended it just inside the 20-yard line. Give him the 18 as Coahulla Creek moves inside the Dr. Pepper maroon zone.
Dawson Pendergrass, the guy that makes the stop there. 5 interceptions on the season. There you see 27. Coach says he watches a ton of film, and he is just always prepared. Thinks he may have a future as a coach after he gets done with his high school and maybe even college. So Coahulla Creek, the Colts, inside the Dr. Pepper maroon zone.
Chase Ward, 4 of 4 passing on this drive for the Colts quarterback. 3rd down and long. Again from deep inside Lafayette territory. And the give to the 10-yard line. It's Karen Bradley.
Rim Bradley, just really physical downhill guy. You could see how quickly when he saw that hole open up, man, he had a burst through there. That was pretty special.
4th down and 1. No hesitation here on the part of Coahulla Creek. Ward under center. Here's the snap and the push. See, this will depend totally on the spot of the football. Looks like it will be enough.
Braden Jones says no, but
he may be biased.
He's a Rambler. He's supposed to say no, right?
It is a 1st down. 1st down and goal. Football resting on the 10-yard line.
CHI Memorial 1st down. This has been a pretty substantial long drive for Coahulla Creek at this point.
10th play of the drive coming up now. I formation. And they run with Bradley to the 5. Bradley to the 2. 2nd down and goal.
Rim Bradley with a nice run. Stop was Braden Jones. He mans their back end on defense, and then this is a prime example of that. He's one of the last defenders in that wave, stopping Bradley from getting to the end zone.
Bradley gets to the 1, and it's 3rd down and goal now for Coahulla Creek. Bradley, with 6 touchdowns on the year, he's rushed for 352 yards this season. Coming into today, Scott, you mentioned Danny Lighty. He's ran for just over 200 yards. That's been kind of the 1-2 punch, certainly of late.
They complement each other real well, too, with their styles. Well, if you play action and roll that athletic Chase Ward out here, let's see what they do.
Here is Ward on the keeper, looking to throw. Touchdown. Coahulla Creek with the touchdown, and they take the early lead. Levi Lowry, the tight end, makes the catch for the score.
Chattanooga Dental Care touchdown for the Colts. We'll get into it a little bit later on, but they have laid down some new turf here, right before the season, and boy, it looks gorgeous on television. Just pops.
High snap, extra point up, and it is good. And Coahulla Creek takes the 7-0 lead with 2:03 to go, first quarter. An 11-play drive. Levi Lowry pulls in the 2-yard toss from Chase Ward. 7-0 Colts on Dr. Pepper. Friday Night Rivals presented by Jack's.
Bail bonds. Gary gets you home.
Coahulla Creek with a 7-0 lead over Lafayette. Just over 2 minutes left to go in this first quarter. Hey, make sure you stick around after the game. You can catch an all-new season of Penn and Teller Fool Us, plus Masters of Illusion. That's tonight following our action here at Coahulla Creek on the CW Chattanooga. It's time for a Food City kickoff. Lafayette set to get the ball. Last time they had it,
Oh, look at here.
they go 9 plays.
They
It's a
got it.
squib, and Coahulla Creek has recovered. Well, look, Scott, we talked a minute ago about, Lafayette kind of pulling out all the stops tonight, kind of playing with house money a little bit, and it's Coahulla Creek that executes the squib and the onside kick.
And this is a beauty. I mean, you got everybody in the huddle, and everybody all of a sudden just turns and runs towards the football, catching Lafayette completely off guard there, and now back with the Colts with the possession. That was smart. After watching Cleveland pull out all the stops last week, it's interesting. Look at this thing. That is interesting. I don't know how many guys you have to have on the line there, but it didn't look like they had more than 2.
Here's Ward. Play fake, has time. Now he'll just have to throw it into the ground. Pressure coming right into his face.
That was Kareem Bradley who he's throwing to, but I think he may have just been throwing it incomplete because he knew defense was all over Bradley, and there was really not going to be any kind of reason for him to catch it and lose, 5-7 yards, something like that. Well, what a trickeration there on that kickoff, huh? Like I was saying, after Cleveland last week, we're just ready for anything at this point.
You better be on your toes.
Second down for the Colts.
Bradley in the backfield with Ward. And here comes Bradley to the near side. Stays on his feet, gets out across the 40-yard line. Brings the football to the 38. Sets up a 3rd down for Coahulla Creek.
It was Nick Sigalina for the linebacker, 55 with the stop. Bradley picks up a couple, be a manageable 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5 or so.
Third down for the Colts.
Coahulla Creek on their last possession. 11 plays. 2-yard touchdown pass by Chase Ward. Here's Ward again to throw. Has time over the middle. Complete at the 35-yard line. Nate Tilley made the catch.
Tilley's the guy that comes in. He's a track guy. 17 catches, 368 yards on the season, 4 TDs, but he rotates with Keith Collins, 13. Also Luke Swinney, who we saw earlier, number 7, and then, of course, Levi Lowry, the tight end's the one that caught the touchdown pass.
Coahulla Creek without Mark Solis tonight. He suffered a concussion last week. And there's some movement up front. This may go against Lafayette, but Solis is the guy we saw here last year that came away and made some big catches.
Offsides, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down. Excuse me, 1st down.
Wow, caught it on the defense there. I saw the slot receiver, Tyler Douglas, take a step forward. I thought for sure that was going to be offsides, but nope. Call it on the defense, get the CHI Memorial 1st down. And once again, the Colts are cooking on the Lafayette 30-yard line.
And Douglas is the guy that took the place of Mark Solis in the lineup. And how about 4 different guys catching the ball, Scott, so far?
Douglas is a freshman, too, number 12.
Spread the love around. Ward throwing deep, middle of the field, wants 6, and he overshot his intended target in Luke Swinney.
Woo, Swinney had behind the defense there, but just couldn't come up with it. That was a pretty nice throw by Chase Ward because even though it was overthrown a little bit, it was certainly where the defender couldn't intercept it or knock it down. That was either going to be a catch or incomplete. And the Colts come up with an incompletion.
These skill guys at Coahulla Creek, outside of Tyler Douglas, everybody else is a senior. So these guys that, according to their coach, Drew Carter, he says they don't have to think about it. They just go out and do it because they've done it so many times. Ward, quick throw. High, and it's incomplete. Aiming for Swinney again.
Yep, intended for Swinney, but Lafayette put a little pressure in the face of Chase Ward, so I think that's why it was a little bit high. on that pass and defended well by Caden Miller. There you see Caden, senior.
You brought up the pressure. Those defensive ends at Lafayette, pretty good. A.J. Thompson, the senior, coming off one side, a guy that added 15 pounds of muscle. He's benching 315. Ben Foley on the other defensive end. They're going to load up the box here on a 3rd down and 10. Coahulla Creek has it at the Lafayette 30. Ward
Big
on the
pressure
rollout.
again.
Ward, he'll have to run. Steps out of bounds at around the 25. 4th down, about 5 needed for the first. We'll see where they end up marking him out of bounds at. They mark him out at the 25. So 4th and 5.
Good on Andy Scott, the Ramblers head coach, dialing up that pressure, knowing that if we can get to Chase Ward, he may make an overthrow like he did or have to roll out and have no way to throw across his body. And with 4 seconds to play here, it'll be interesting to see what they do. And what they do is take a timeout.
Timeout, offense.
Timeout asked for with 4 seconds left to go in what has been a quickly played first quarter. Lafayette got the ball to begin things. They turned it over on downs on a fake field goal attempt, and then Coahulla Creek went to work on an 11-play drive that resulted in a 2-yard touchdown pass to Levi Lowry from Chase Ward. And then an onside kick. Coahulla Creek gets the ball back. This is play number 7 as they look to try to convert on a 4th and 5 at the 25-yard line.
Chris, you want to talk about this new turf?
A gorgeous night here at Coahulla Creek. Scott, you've already mentioned the gorgeous turf that is here. For more on that, let's go to the field and Dave Keelan. Some new carpet, Dave.
Obviously here in Dalton, outside in Whitfield County, it is the carpet capital of the world, and what better place to have a turf field here in Whitfield County. Coahulla Creek was one of the other Whitfield County schools. Northwest Whitfield, Southeast Whitfield both got turf this year, but Coahulla Creek was the last one to go in. Fortunately, their first 5 games of the year were on the road, not finished until the first week of September. They didn't get started on this until July 3rd, and it's a brand new surface they're playing on out here. It's got the wood chip grains to it, so it's still got like a nice new sawmill smell out here, so it smells really good as well. So they've done a fantastic job.
4th and 5, Coahulla Creek to go for it. Ward to throw. Has a man wide open. Pass caught at the 10 to the 5. He's down to the 4. Keith Collins sets Coahulla Creek up with a 1st down and goal inside the 5 as the first quarter comes to a close.
He couldn't have been more open, too, on that right side. Of course, Ward just letting it develop, and then he hits Collins for the big 1st down.
7-0 Coahulla Creek. Colts look for more as we continue the second quarter when we come back on Dr. Pepper. Friday Night Rivals presented by Jax on the CW Chattanooga. 7-0 Coahulla Creek on top of Lafayette as we get set to start the second quarter. Let's get a look at our first quarter nominee for our Goss Insurance Play of the Game. How about this one? Chase Ward feeling the pressure on the move, and watch him. Shows off the gun and a great catch downfield. Keith Collins coming down with the football. That would go on to set up the first Coahulla Creek score. Here we open up the second quarter, and the give to Bradley to the left side. Bradley stops shy as he gets to about the 3-yard line. Bradley, 352 yards rushing, averages about 4 yards a carry. He's scored 6 touchdowns this year. He's also a guy that
Dr. Pepper Maroon zone. There you go.
will play a little middle linebacker on defense for the Colts. Back into the I formation, Ward under center, and it's Bradley again. Bradley, this time is in. Touchdown, Coahulla Creek.
Got it that time. Physical runner. Shows you that in the Chattanooga Dental Care touchdown. Didn't get it that first time, but you kind of thought he would the second time as they were so close to the end zone there inside the 3.
40 seconds into the second quarter, and Coahulla Creek extends the lead to 2 scores. For Bradley, that is his 7th touchdown of the season. The snap, the spot, the kick, and the extra point is up and good, and Coahulla Creek with a 14-0 lead over Lafayette in this second quarter. A region game. Coahulla Creek feeling like they are kind of fighting for their playoff life tonight, Scott. You talked about it in the open. You got to win this one. You still need a little bit of help, but if you can close out strong, win these last two. We get a look at Bradley finding pay dirt.
And don't discount the fact that if you win tonight, you're 5-4, and that means you're guaranteed, at least a 500 season and not a losing season, which this program is so young. They had so many of those to begin with years ago. Then making the playoffs last year, as we mentioned, was so historic, and they want to recreate that and not go backwards.
These live and local games made possible by our sponsors. Let's take a minute and thank a few, like Dr. Pepper, Scott's Furniture, Big Woody's Tree Service, CHI Memorial, Food City, and the Tennessee Army National Guard. Thank those folks for being with us this season on Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals, presented by our friends at Jack's. Coahulla Creek with a 14-0 lead. LaFayette has had the ball only once so far in this game. And that was a 9-play drive that ended with a fake field goal attempt.
Now it's a little pooch to the open field.
Taken by one of the up men at the 30-yard line. Has the 35, gets to the 40. Dips a shoulder as he goes out of bounds. It was Bryson Cleghorn with the return.
Cleghorn showed some nice hands there, too, because that was kind of placed perfectly into the hole where there wasn't really anybody there. And Bryson Cleghorn, there you go, plays it off the nice bounce. And advanced it probably 15 yards or so.
We'll get a look at this Lafayette offense as we go back to the field and Dave Keelan. Dave, it's an offense, man. They want to line up. They want to fist fight you in a phone booth, don't they?
Absolutely. Talking with Coach Andy Scott earlier this week, he said that they practice their physicality. That's what they hang their hat on. And one of the statements that he said to us is, violence is the standard.
I love that.
For the Rambler program. He said what they want to do with this running program is they're looking to pull these secondary, the DBs in. And he said that's where they don't mix it up. They don't like to get physical. And that's where they want to, with this running game, they want to bring those guys in, and they just want to physically run over you. And that's what they're living up to their name, the Ramblers.
Now, this offensive line at Lafayette with 4 seniors. They've done a pretty good job this year, opening up some holes for Kalis Finley. Here he comes again. Finley straight ahead. And Finley carries it across the 50. Takes it into Colt territory. He gets to the 47.
Stop made by Keith Collins, senior safety for Coahulla Creek. But, yeah, violence is the standard. I love that. And I love when he said Kalis Finley will run through your soul. I love that one, too, man. That's great. That is great. It kind of just defines all of it, right? At least what they're trying to do.
Yeah, we mentioned Finley, a big week last week. He had 200 yards in that win over LFO last week. Ringgold has kind of been one of the few that have been able to hold him in check. Here's the Wildcat to Finley. And again, the pile just pushes forward down to the 40-yard line and the Lafayette first down. But Ringgold was able to hold him to 76 yards. That's his lowest single-game output this season.
That'd be hard to do, too. CHI Memorial first down right about the Rambler 40-yard line. The Colts 40-yard line here as Lafayette got a little, they're in business on this drive.
You come away with some points here, Scott. You're right back in this thing.
Yes, sir.
There's still plenty of time left. Finley out of the Wildcat to the right side. And Finley, when you talk about the physicality, he shows it on that run to the 35.
Yeah, they put the right side, the loaded line on the right side, unbalanced line to the right, and was able to run behind these big blockers.
Nick Shropshire, Noah Johnson. Johnson, the right guard, 6'4", 295.
And Cody Davis, 46 right there, has been, used like a fullback, H-back type. So if they line them up like that to the right, do they run to the right again?
Again, great push by that offensive line for Finley, and he just falls forward now, gets to the 32.
And there's nothing wrong with chunking it. 4 or 5 yards a pop. If you can't stop it, keep doing it,
Kalis Finley, we've seen him play basketball here here on the CW. Tremendous basketball player at Lafayette. He runs track. I guarantee you this, kid, look, he carried the football 40 times this year against Gordon Lee. There may not be a better conditioned guy on the field tonight, Scott, than Kalis Finley.
Very good point. You might do that again tonight, and why not? Like I said, if you can't stop him.
Finley running over people. Here he goes. Finley inside the 20-yard line. Another Lafayette first down inside the Dr. Pepper maroon zone.
Kane Guffey with the stop there, but if he doesn't stop him, that's Finley in the end zone, man. Big, tall, rangy, as you mentioned, basketball player. Hoopster, he's a track guy. Just an absolute workhorse. 229 carries coming into the game. There's another good look at it.
It's almost a little bit of a throwback to the single wing here, isn't it? We're going to snap it back. One of the things that Andy Scott talked about was, he said, look, we're going to get the football into the hands of our best players, and that's Kalis Finley. And here comes Finley again, taking the handoff. He'll look to bounce, and he's trapped and pulled down. Caught behind the line, Nate Tilley.
Nate Tilley, yep, athletic, strong. Coach Drew Carter told us he's the most athletic guy on the team. But now there's a penalty flag, so we'll see what this is going to be.
We haven't seen too many of those tonight. I think this is our second flag, as the officials confer. Flag laying at the 19. 7.5 to go, second quarter. Coahulla Creek with a touchdown pass. They convert on the onside kick, recover it, put together another 43-yard drive, 9 plays, 43 yards. Kieran Bradley with the touchdown run for the Colts and a 14-0 lead. Lafayette trying to put a drive together now as we await the whistle.
There are 2 penalties on the play. We have an illegal formation against the offense. That penalty is declined. After the play, we have a dead ball, personal foul against the offense. That's a 15-yard penalty. We will repeat first down.
Well, Scott, that is one of those things, if you're
Correct.
Lafayette, this is the thing that you cannot have happen if you want to give yourself the best chance to be able to win this game.
Because you cannot get, way behind the sticks, and you see the extracurricular activity right there between 15 and 22. And he comes back at the end there, too, so it's a tough call on Coahulla Creek, but you just can't. Or I'm sorry, it was on Lafayette. And then you always get the second guy, right, the retaliator.
Football goes back to the 37-yard line. Now second down and 21.
Way behind the sticks, way off schedule. Like you mentioned, if you're going to run the ball a bunch with Finley, you got to stay on schedule, meaning 2nd and 6, 3rd and 3 type stuff instead of, well, what did you say, 1st and 21.
Low snap. Football is on the ground. Coahulla Creek has come up with it. The Colts recover it. It's Tyler Douglas.
How many times you see a penalty and that kind of mental mistake type thing, and then you come back and make another physical or mental mistake, whatever you want to classify that as, just laying the ball on the turf. Tyler Douglas comes up with it. Freshman.
Kind of all started with a low snap for Pendergrass.
Here, let's take another look at it. Low snap, he tried to grab it, but then before, it was Tay Brogdon that came flying through there, busted the football up before Pendergrass could hand it off to Finley. So credit Tay Brogdon right there, number 17, senior, for that athletic play and high IQ play.
First turnover of the game. Here come the Colts again. Ward looking downfield, pressured, and he'll be sacked. Back inside the 35 and slung down.
That was going to be Logan Kendrick, the defensive end, number 9. Coach Scott said, boy, Kendrick's super fast. And you kind of saw it on that play. Once there was, and you could probably consider that a coverage sack. I mean, you couldn't find anybody downfield. Take another look at it here. As Ward couldn't find anybody downfield, he's looking, and all of a sudden, here that man comes right at you. Logan Kendrick, senior, with a sack.
Ball back at the 34. Here's Ward again, rolling out, throws on the run, wide open is Collins.
Look at the speed.
Collins down the near sideline. Collins, big play, and he's out of bounds at the 31.
Great blocking by the receivers there for Coahulla Creek. You see Keith Collins, what a difference maker this kid is, man. Weaving in around the defenders and then able to have a burst of speed. Huge gain for Coahulla Creek.
Dawson Pendergrass just saved the touchdown. The screen, complete. Guess who? Collins, inside the 20. Collins, inside the 5-yard line. Ball comes free in the end zone. They're going to say he was down inside the 5, and Coahulla Creek will have a first down and goal.
Boy, that was close, and credit the Rambler defender there, number 2, Caden Miller, for trying to punch it out loose as Keith Collins was about to cross the end zone. Braden Jones recovers the ball.
Timeout.
You'll see it again. 23 just tries to bust it out. Braden Jones. But the referee rules him down.
Midway through the second quarter, Coahulla Creek on top by 2 scores, looking for a third when we return. Dr. Pepper, Friday Night Rivals, presented by Jax on the CW Chattanooga.
Platinum.
Coahulla Creek with a 14-0 lead over Lafayette. 6:09 to go second quarter, and the Colts knocking on the door, looking for more. Trying to cash in on this play. It's our Goss Insurance play of the game. The screen. And there you see Keith Collins taking it down the field.
And a good call by the referee in real time because he was down, his knee was down before the ball popped out.
It's our play of the game nominee from Goss Insurance. This was all made possible after a Lafayette fumble. And there's the touchdown for the Colts. Ward on the keeper.
Chase Ward, pretty big guy, so he takes it in for the Chattanooga Dental Care touchdown. There you see Ward, senior quarterback. Every single thing goes through him on their offense. Throws a great deep ball, as we've already seen. Gets rid of it quickly. Got a real quick release. And has had one heck of a senior year.
Coahulla Creek with 3 offensive possessions tonight, Scott. 3 touchdowns.
Yep. And that's obviously the way you want to draw it up.
And the extra point makes it 21-0 Coahulla Creek.
And let's face it, the Ramblers haven't done anything but really hand them opportunities, you know.
Right. It's been the fumbles, it's been the penalties.
The onside kick.
That has been the issue. Middle of the second, Coahulla Creek on top of Lafayette. 6:03 to go. Second quarter will return. Dr. Pepper, Friday Night Rivals, presented by Jax.
You got to get Gary.
Trick, treat, smell, tweet.
21-0 Coahulla Creek on top of Lafayette here midway through this second quarter. This season, we're excited to have Jax with us as our presenting sponsor. And what a better way to end the night than with a visit. Feed the whole family with a Jax Big Box. Your choice of hand-breaded fried chicken or chicken fingers and sides. Get dinner done. No hassle, no fuss. When you pick up a Jax Big Box today, order online, eatatjax.com, or you can download the Jax app for big rewards. Bryson Cleghorn on the return again. And once again, Lafayette's going to have pretty good starting field position.
Braden James, too, if he doesn't make that stop there, it could have went for quite a long distance. Yeah, maybe even a house call. But, again, the Ramblers start with mighty fine field position. Now let's see if they can stop from shooting themselves in the foot and giving Coahulla Creek opportunities. 5:57, I know Coach Andy Scott would love to see them come down here and put some points on the board just to match what Coahulla Creek has done. There's the CW Varnell. Love it, guys. Love it.
Oh, a bad snap. Gets by Pendergrass. He'll fall on it back inside the 25.
Well, so we just found the answer to my question.
There you go.
It doesn't seem like they can go without shooting themselves in the foot. It got to be so frustrating. It's been a long season for those guys.
Timeout.
And frankly,
Offense.
making mistakes that we see at the end of August, typically.
Lafayette taking the timeout here. They'll stop the clock to talk it over as you get a look at it on the replay. That bad snap is going to set them up now in a long yardage situation. That ball went back inside the, well, they're going to mark it at right about the 25-yard line.
I don't think Pendergrass was ready for the snap, to be honest with you. So I don't know if that was on clap or some sort of word, but he looked like he was still looking around at his wide receivers and offense and just wasn't ready for the football to be snapped at him.
Tuesday night on the CW Chattanooga, you can go inside the NFL. The CW Chattanooga is the exclusive home of the long-running series. That is Tuesday night at 8. We invite you to stick around for our Jacks halftime show. Coming up, we'll have a recap of the first half, plus we'll catch up with the Tennessee Army National Guard. That is coming up on our Jacks halftime report. First down and 25. Here comes the penalty flags. It may be first down and longer.
Ball start. Offense. Still second down.
Second down and 30.
Lafayette has had the ball twice tonight, Scott. Both times they've been able to move the football. First drive they had it, they took it 9 plays, trying a fake field goal attempt and turned it over on downs. Last time, they ran 8 plays before they coughed it up on a fumble. Headed in the wrong direction here now. First down and 31 as the ball goes back to the 20.
No, because it might go in and out.
Pendergrass. Finley. And Finley out across the 25. He gets the 26, maybe the 27-yard line. Look, this is a team, Scott, that is, you've talked about it. They are built to run the football. They want to run the football a lot, averaging 211 yards rushing per game. They're only throwing it for about 39 yards a contest. So first and 31, not really in the game plan.
Not at all. Not at all, Chris. You are so accurate. You just can't get yourself that far behind.
Finley again caught and wrapped up almost as soon as he took that handoff. It was Tate Brogdon.
So now brings up fourth down and a mile.
Levi Lowry in on that stop as well.
You say fourth down in Murray County? Can we say that? Got to get these North Georgia counties all in, right?
Fourth down and a long way. Well, that's what we cover here on the CW Varnell.
That's right. That's right.
Fourth and long. Rainwater to punt it away. And it's Keith Collins, the ever-dangerous Keith Collins, calling for the fair catch. And he'll take it at the 44-yard line, and that's where Coahulla Creek takes over after the 3-and-out by Lafayette. Coahulla Creek has had the football 3 times tonight, and they've come away with 3 scores. They lead it 21-0 as we've got 4 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Offensively, they've been so impressive, and I think, you know, just the fact that they get so many guys involved. You mentioned all the...
After the play, we have a dead ball personal foul against the return team. Results of the play is going to be a first down.
A little bit of extracurricular. Either way, going back to what I was about to say, you mentioned it, getting all these guys involved. Keith Collins, Luke Sweeney, the receiver Tyler Douglas, Nate Tilley. I mean, just that rotation and the fact that there's not one guy that they lean on. Sure, Karim Bradley and Leidy can kind of spell each other, and they a pontoon, if you will, or platoon, I should say, if you will. But Chase Ward can use all these offensive weapons, and he's done a good job of the whole balance of using all of them and getting them all involved.
And Levi Lowry with a touchdown catch. So that's another guy that's gotten his hands on the ball for the Colts. Here is Ward on the handoff, Leidy, and he is stacked up and racked as soon as he took the handoff. Ramblers were on him quickly.
Yes, they were.
Brennan Beavers in on that stop.
Beavers.
Brody Sane, a sophomore defensive lineman, in there as well.
There's Brennan Beavers, sophomore himself. So got some young players that contribute a bunch on this Lafayette team.
Loss of a yard brings up now second down and 11. Here's Here's Ward in trouble, makes one miss, now steps up, hit as he releases downfield, almost intercepted.
Yeah, intended for broken up by Caden Miller, but certainly intended by Tyler Douglas, the freshman receiver. There you see Caden Miller, senior cornerback. Well defended there, because now you put Coahulla Creek in a long down and distance situation.
I'll give Andy Scott, the head coach at Lafayette, some credit for building up a rotation of guys. I mean, they're going to play 6-7 guys on the defensive line. You talked about the depth at linebacker. They feel good as you get a look at Coach Scott. They feel good about 6-7 guys there, and they'll play a whole lot of defensive backs, usually 5 on the field at a time. Ward looks to run, in trouble, penalty flags come out. He'll step up now, fire downfield, and it's incomplete. Penalty flags thrown back in the backfield. Let's see, this may be a hold.
Holding against the offense. That penalty is declined. It's going to be 4th down.
So on 4th and 11, Coahulla Creek will be forced to kick it away.
Take another look at it. Big pressure. There's 54 with a hold. Yeah, you can't take him down like that. I'm not even going to say his name. I'll just give him a break tonight. But you can't do that. But it was big pressure by the Ramblers on Chase Ward.
Well, Lafayette's been able to dial up a little bit of pressure tonight. They do have 1 sack of Ward. See if they like to come after this punt. As Ward gets away an end-over-end kick. Takes the backwards hop at about the 35-yard line, and that's where Coahulla Creek will down it. At about the 36, and Lafayette will take over 1st down and 10 at the 36-yard line. It was penalties that hurt Lafayette, that and a bad snap over the head of Dawson Pendergrass, the quarterback, that put him in a hole on their last possession. Trying to get a little bit of a better start here. Coach Andy Scott talked this week about wanting to finish this season strong. They're coming off a win last week, an impressive win over LFO. They won it 34-21, scored 34 unanswered at one point. Coahulla Creek tonight, and then they close out the season next week against Ridgeland. Finley on the direct snap. Across the 40.
Keeps going.
Watch him go across the 50, the 45. Kalis Finley inside the 45-yard line.
CHI Memorial 1st down, and Ranger Bickford on the stop finally. And I refuse to use the phrase that the Philadelphia Eagles are using. But let me tell you something. That is effective. And as long as it is legal, I say do it, and do it a lot.
Here's the snap back to Jones. Pulled it in with one hand. Here's the stiff arm to the outside. He's shy of the 30. Ridden down here on the near sideline. Braden Jones on the carry. Karen Bradley made the stop.
Bradley did make the stop, and not until Lafayette picks up some really good yardage.
We'll mark him down. Say that he stepped out of bounds back at the 33, so it sets up now 2nd down and about a yard. Finley back in the Wildcat, and he falls down. Took the snap, went to take a step, and he just lost his footing and goes down.
Almost like he tried to make 2 moves and slipped on that brand new turf. Again, a kind of a self-made mistake for Lafayette. They've had so many tonight that I don't know how much more they can weather that storm.
Inside 2 minutes left in the first half. Snap back, Braden Jones, right side. Jones, another stiff arm, breaks free with a spin move. Inside the 30, Jones will get the 1st down, and a good tough run by Braden Jones.
No question, the senior Braden Jones just kept on running to that CHI Memorial 1st down. Great effort by Jones.
Andy Scott said this week, he's a kid. He said, you put him just about any place else, he's probably a starter, but here he's going to back up Kalis Finley. And here comes Finley. Looks to the outside. Now he'll cut it back inside. And again, moves the pile. Gets inside the 20, down to the 19-yard line. Minute 20 or so remaining in the first half. Lafayette with just one timeout left.
Dr. Pepper Maroon Zone for the Ramblers. Like you said, we're going to see this kind of hurry-up offense here with 1:10 to play before halftime.
Here's Jones. Jones cuts it up inside. Jones has the 10. Can he break the ankle tackle? He cannot. Coahulla Creek, it was Bradley that got him by the ankle and just held on. And the clock will stop with 1:01 to go.
Timeout. Defense.
Coahulla Creek calls the timeout. That's their second of this half. So each side now with one timeout remaining for the final 61 seconds.
1 minute, 1 second to go. Colts up 21-0.
Make sure you stay with us. Coming up in 61 seconds of action, we'll get to our Jack's halftime report. We'll recap the first half here at Coahulla Creek. Josh Rowe back in our studio. He'll join us, get you caught up on everything else that's going on. It's the final week of the regular season in Tennessee. We'll have playoff brackets in Tennessee in the morning, and the playoff picture in Georgia starting to come into focus as well. They got one more week of the regular season there. That's coming up here on Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals, presented by Jack's. Chris Goforth, Scott McMahon, Dave Keelan. We're at Coahulla Creek High School. Gorgeous facility here, a beautiful field. Colts with a 21-0 lead. Lafayette trying to threaten here just before the half. With a first down inside the 10-yard line. First down and goal to go. They'll stay in the Wildcat with Kalis Finley. And here he comes. Finley straight ahead, and he is knocked down by the middle of that Coahulla Creek defensive front.
Good group effort by the Colts defense.
And teammates in on that tackle.
Karim Bradley making a lead there.
And you gotta get lined up and snap it quick here. Clock goes inside 40 seconds. Snap back Jones. Jones to the 5. Jones down at the 5-yard line. Bradley there to finish him off, along with a couple of other blue jerseys. I believe Kane Guffey in on that stop as well.
Guffey and Bradley,
Timeout.
some smart football players, high
Offense.
IQ. Also joined in there by Jackson Lowry, the nose guard. Interesting thing about the Colts defense is their defensive front. Levi Lowry, defensive end, Jackson Lowry, the nose guard, and Chevy Joyce, all three wrestlers.
Yeah.
So Coach Drew Carter really likes that fact that wrestlers kind of understand not only the leverage but the speed off the snap. And they have had some pretty impressive numbers. Now, Jackson Lowry, the nose guard, and Chevy Joyce, the defensive end, they're both sophomores. And Joyce is a big guy, 76, about 6'2" or so. Joyce has 3 sacks on the year. So they got a bright future in that Coahulla Creek defensive line for a couple of years to come.
All 3 of those sacks came against Gordon Lee. Levi Lowry, the senior out of that group, they feel like he's the strongest and probably the best tackler out of that defensive line. Third down and goal at the 5-yard line as play resumes. 34 seconds left. Lafayette out of timeouts in the first half. Finley, the Wildcat, in trouble. Tries to bounce to the outside, and he will be thrown for a loss. Penalty flag comes out.
Nate Tilley was all over it, along with Kobe King, the cornerback, sophomore cornerback number 2. There's Tilley, senior, probably the most athletic guy on the roster.
We'll find out about the penalty here with 25 seconds left. Well, the one good thing about the penalty, Scott, is gives you
Blocking
time.
the back against the offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat third down.
If you're Lafayette, it gives you time to kind of get set up here and figure out what you want to do next. Now, it's a costly penalty.
Right, 'cause
This will be
you're
the
10 yards
10th play of the drive for the Ramblers. Ball goes back to the 15. So it's third down and goal at the 15-yard line. Watch 56.
That's the block in the back right there.
Pendergrass wants to throw for 6. Got a man just off his fingertips and incomplete. It was Blaze Stone, the intended target. 18 seconds left now for Lafayette.
Nicely drawn up, just could not execute it to its fullest, just barely over the fingertips. And you'll take another look at it here. Dawson Pendergrass trying to lead his receiver out there. Just a bit outside on Blaze Stone. Great effort on both parts, though.
Ethan Rainwater out to attempt another field goal. This will be a 32-yarder. Shaded just a bit towards the right hash, and we've got a timeout that's asked for by Coahulla Creek. So
I'm out.
both teams
Defense.
have elected to take their full allotments of timeouts here. So we are all out of timeouts with 18 seconds left and a 32-yard field goal. Now, the last time we saw this was on the opening drive of the game. Lafayette lined up to try a field goal attempt a little longer than this one.
A lot longer than
But
this.
at that point, they elected to go for it and ended up turning it over on downs on the fake field goal attempt. Let's see what they want to do here.
Snapped it straight back to Rainwater, and his pass was just a little bit underthrown. And that was I think it was a 41-yard attempt.
I think so.
So a little bit more manageable for Ethan Rainwater on this 32-yarder.
So from the 22-yard line, the 32-yard attempt by Rainwater with 18 seconds left first half. The kick, he's got the distance, and it is good. Lafayette is on the board, 21-3, comes with 13 seconds left to play in the first half.
Well, Rainwater showed the leg a little bit there. Nice kick. Now, Coahulla Creek gets the football to start the second half. I believe that's right. Lafayette won the toss and then took the ball.
An 11-play drive for Lafayette. And it results in the field goal from Ethan Rainwater.
Thanks, Upward, for helping making our team strong.
Well, we'll see what each side elects to do. Coahulla Creek's going to play everybody up close. They're expecting the squib kick here with 13 seconds left. Ramblers got the ball to start the game. That was the drive that resulted in that missed field goal from earlier. Rainwater will boot it. He'll send it deep. Hits at the 5-yard line. That's a live ball. You got to fall on it. He does at the 4.
Sometimes you got to love the innocence of youth, right? It's like, oh, we'll just let it sit there. We're good. No, sir. But let's give them some credit for figuring it out quickly and jumping on it. That was Danny Leidy, too, number 4. What do you think Coach is asking him what he wants from Jax? You think that's what he's saying?
You got to get your app out and put the order in now so you can
Fried
pick it
chicken.
up on your way home.
Chicken sandwich. Let's see.
That's what we all do at halftime, isn't it?
EatAtJax.com.
Ward will come under center. He'll take the snap, and he's just going to try to find a little room and take a knee. That'll get that clock rolling. Everybody's out of timeouts, so that's going to be the final play of the first half. We head towards our Jax halftime report, and it's a 21-3 lead for Coahulla Creek. Colts only punted one time in the first half, Scott. Pretty efficient first half of football for Coahulla Creek. No turnovers, just one punt.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
I
that's
got Carter.
the way you'd want to draw up the first half if you're Drew Carter, which Dave Keelan has him on the sideline.
Let's send it down to Dave. Dave.
Well, Coach, your offense put together a few good drives right there, but your defense, talk about them right now. They played that bend but don't break type defense. Just talk about their performance.
Yeah, they really did. We knew what Lafayette was going to try to do to us, play big boy ball. And, they're good up front. They got a good back. We're able to do exactly what you said, bend but don't break. Made a few adjustments deeper into some of those drives and then just started getting him on the ground.
You know what they're capable of doing. Last week against LFO, they scored 34 unanswered. What do you tell your team to try to avoid having that happen here in the second half?
We got to come out with a great effort defensively with them getting the opening kickoff right here, and we got to make sure that we take care of business and get a stop there and don't let them get their energy level back up and feel like they're back in the game.
Good luck second half.
Thank you.
Coach Drew Carter, head coach of the Coahulla Creek Colts. Guys, back to you.
It's a 21-3 lead for Coach Drew Carter and his Coahulla Creek Colts. Our Jack's halftime report coming up next. We'll recap the first half of action here at Coahulla Creek. Josh Rowe back in our studio. He joins us for action from around the area. This is Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals presented by Jack's. Coahulla Creek with a 21-3 lead over LaFayette as we're set to get this third quarter underway. Ethan Rainwater to kick it off. Tyler Douglas, Keith Collins back deep for Coahulla Creek. It is our final Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals presented by Jack's of the season. Glad to be here at Coahulla Creek High School on what has been a perfect evening for high school football. Rainwater's kick, high and end over end. And here's the return by Douglas. Making the wide turn, and Douglas cut down shy of the 20-yard line. Scott, we've seen some of these late October matchups before, and it can be downright chilly. That hasn't been the case. Been pretty pleasant tonight.
You're exactly right, and I didn't want to say anything until we got into the second half, jinx it. But this is the first year in my memory, every single Friday night was fantastic weather. There wasn't any lightning delays. We didn't have any monsoons out there. Now, that one night at Dade County, it was 108, and Dave was about to die down there on the sideline. But we were in the air conditioning, so that's cool.
That's all that really matters.
Right.
Here's the snap back to Ward. He'll feed to Bradley. Bradley finds some room on the outside, out across the 25. He'll get up to about the 27, 28-yard line. I'm just glad you didn't make me stand out in the rain at any point in time this year. Tell that Meigs County story one day of Quake kind of nudging me out the door there when it was pouring rain.
I just wanted to make sure you had great sight lines. I know how professional you were.
Yeah.
Because our notes were all...
they were done. They were done by the time... I don't think we got through the first quarter of that game. Everything was awful that night. Here's Ward on the keeper. Ward, first down and more. Chase Ward out to the 45.
Nice run by Chase Ward.
Scott, he's averaging 7 yards a carry. He scored 8 touchdowns this year. They don't run him a lot. They pick their spots with him, but he's really effective.
Yes, he is. 8 touchdowns rushing, make it 9, because I think he had one earlier in the game. So he can do it all. He's a nice dual threat. Great little arm. Here you'll see him take the snap, run pass option. He decides to run it himself. Picks up a first down.
Good start to this drive for Coahulla Creek. Bradley surrounded now. He'll have to fight and claw his way to the 45. Gets a yard.
Bunch of Ramblers on that tackle. Tell you who's super active is that Braden Jones, 23. There you say number 56 out there doing some really good things for the Rambler defense.
Hamilton, a senior, 6'1", 255.
Yeah, Michael Hamilton. There you
go. Second down and 9 for Coahulla Creek. Colts under the direction of Drew Carter in his first year as the head coach. He spent 5 seasons at Coahulla Creek total. Ward being pressured now with a stiff arm. Gets away from a man on the move. In trouble. He'll just have to throw it away. He slings it into the Coahulla Creek sidelines.
You know, I'm talking about Drew Carter. You mentioned when we talked to him earlier in the week, he mentioned that Danny Wilson could not have been a better mentor, a guy that just has been around football for so long. And it was a fairly simple process for Danny Wilson when he left here to hand it off to the hands of Drew Carter, and it's been somewhat of a seamless transition here for the Colts.
Yeah, Carter said that he kept the coaching staff pretty much intact. He had to hire one guy. And look, he's a young guy taking over, first time being a head coach. He's got 4 former head coaches on this staff, so he's put good people around him. Here's Ward again, middle screen, deflected and knocked down. Nice job by Nick Whitefield. First time we've called his name tonight, leading tackler for LaFayette.
Yeah, leading tackler for Lafayette. And Coach Andy Scott said he's just 100 miles per hour wherever he goes, a relentless kind of player. And he was able to, the junior out of the linebacker position, and he was able to bat that football down, read that it was a screen, and be able to go up and knock the football down is a very athletic play by Nick Whitefield.
Ward set to punt it away. Gets away a nice kick. This will hit, take a big bounce. The roll inside the 10, inside the 5, and Lafayette's going to start this drive at the 4-yard line. 96 yards away from the end zone after a fantastic punt by Chase Ward. 9:43 to go, third quarter. Coahulla Creek leads Lafayette 21-3. Rambler ball when we return after this. Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals presented by Jax.
You trust. And remember, there is no normal.
Heck of a punt by Chase Ward of Coahulla Creek. Colts with a 21-3 lead, and Lafayette will start inside their own 5-yard line. Stick around after the game. You can catch an all-new season of Penn and Teller Fool Us plus Masters of Illusion. It's all coming up tonight after our action here from Coahulla Creek. 9:43 to go, third quarter. Dawson Pendergrass, the quarterback, takes the snap in the end zone. Here's the give, Kalis. And Kalis Finley gets out to the 10-yard line, a gain of 6 on first down.
We've seen Lafayette make mistakes, but, boy, you got to be super clean right here because they're so close to the goal line at your back. So don't give any unwanted mistakes up to the Colts because they'll capitalize and capitalize quickly.
We've seen bad snaps tonight. We've seen penalties on Lafayette. We've seen a fumble. They cannot afford any of those on a 2nd down and 4. And again, it's Finley, and Finley has the first down. Now he gives them a little bit of breathing room out to the 16.
Yes, he does. That's stopped by Nate Tilley and also Danny Lighty for the CHI Memorial first down for the Ramblers.
You know, Scott, I don't know if he's going to get to 40 carries tonight like he did against Gordon Lee. We talked about Kalis Finley and averaging 29 carries a game, but I mean, he's going to be every bit of 29, 30 carries by the time this game is over. We're seeing a lot of him.
And he's the workhorse. He's just such a great athlete.
And here he comes again, hit in the backfield and knocked down. Nice solo stop.
Big tackle for a loss.
Levi Lowry.
Levi Lowry came into the game with 8 tackles for a loss on the season, so add one more to that. You see him with the, what do they call it, eye pink, if it's pink. I mean, it's usually eye black, but obviously the October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a lot of guys wear pink accessories. That's just whipping the guy across from you and getting it done for Levi Lowry.
Nice job for Lowry. He's the senior on that defensive front for Lafayette. We talked about the 2 youngsters, for Coahulla Creek, rather, the 2 sophomores that also get a lot of snaps up there. Here's Pendergrass on the keeper, and he is cut down. Pendergrass
Great
brought
tackle.
down at the 15.
Nate Tilley, another guy that comes off that outside linebacker edge and just sees that Pendergrass faked to Finley. Pendergrass going to take it himself, and Tilley said, no, you're not very far.
So now 3rd down and long for Lafayette. Scott, it goes back to something you talked about in the first half. This is not the position that Lafayette wants to be in. They don't want to be faced in the 3rd and longs. They want a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, certainly not a 3rd and 12. Here's Pendergrass to throw downfield.
Found his guy.
And it's complete in the first down and out of bounds, shy of the 30. Dawson Pendergrass, 25 out of 71 on the year. Dawson Losh made the catch, 310 yards. Passing for Pendergrass, averaging right at about 39 yards a game. Nice throw and catch on a first down.
Losh, normally more of a linebacker, but plays a little tight end there, and he was wide open for the CHI Memorial first down.
One guy we haven't talked about tonight is A.J. Thompson, somebody they've been trying to find ways to be able to get the ball to. And we're going to have a motion penalty against Lafayette. Parker Greco took the handoff. Midway through this 3rd quarter. Well, once again, Lafayette about to go back behind the sticks.
Looked like it was Losh, the same guy that caught the pass for the first down, was the one to kind of take a step forward.
Against the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
But that's the thing, right? One good thing happens, then a bad thing happens. It's just that you can't get consistency of 5, 6, 7, 8 plays in a row where you don't make a mistake. That'll be talked about a bunch this offseason with Andy Scott and that coaching staff. The guys that return.
LaFayette will ask for the timeout. It's the old Bruce Springsteen line, right? 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Inside 7 minutes to go. Second quarter. Chris Goforth, Scott McMahon, Dave Keelan with you for our final Dr. Pepper Friday night rivals of the season here at Coahulla Creek. Andy Scott having a word with the officials. Drew Carter on the opposite sideline got his Colts all huddled up. They talk things over. Andy Scott looking for some explanations for what he's seen out of this officiating group tonight.
Well, I kind of disagree. I just think he's upset because he wasn't included on the Jacks order.
See?
That's what it is.
Those sneaky officials, they'll do that to you.
See, he's writing it down.
You got to get to them early.
Get the chicken sandwich, I'm telling you.
Lafayette lost 2 region games this year in overtime. This is a team that, look, they've been competitive, Scott. They've had moments. This maybe the 2-6 record, not exactly an indication of how well they've played at times this year. But to your point tonight, to what Coach Scott told us this week, is you get a look at Lafayette's schedule this season, including an impressive win last week. Look, they gave Bremen, a top 10 team in the state of Georgia, all they wanted.
Yes, they did. Of course, won over LFO last week, and he just wanted to win the last 3 and say, you know, let's go on to the next. We got a real good shot of getting a win against Ridgeland next week. And played Ringo pretty tough, even though they couldn't get as many points on the board as they wanted. And that overtime loss to Gordon Lee, I think, still stings them a bunch.
Yeah, but it's been exactly, I think, what we've seen tonight. It's almost a microcosm of this season. Something good happens, you just can't stack those good things on top of each other without having that setback, whether it's a fumble, a bad snap, a penalty, whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Pendergrass to Greco, and he's slung down in the backfield immediately by Bradley.
Karen Bradley just making a play. That's what he does.
They call him the quarterback of the defense, and he has been that guy all season for Coahulla Creek. And again, I go back to when we were here previously. He was one of those guys that really stood out based on the way he played.
He sure did. We had those guys at Ringo last year against the Tigers, and Kareem Bradley was making plays for, his junior year last year. Really smart football player, along with his running mate in the inside linebacker position, Kane Guffey. Both high IQs when it comes to the game of football.
Pendergrass to throw. Wants to take a shot deep downfield, and this is broken up at midfield.
Almost had it nicely played by Keith Collins, the safety. He's kind of the secondary chief of getting everybody lined up correctly and doing their thing. And, of course, Dawson Pendergrass, 27, the quarterback, coming over a little frustrated.
Give you an indication of how well Collins plays. 61 tackles this year out of that safety position, so he's a guy he's gonna find the football.
Porter Centel, the intended receiver, broke it up by Collins. Centel, a sophomore, so he'll be around for a little while in Lafayette.
Third down and long for the Ramblers. Pendergrass again to throw. Steps up. Has a man open, complete and out of bounds.
Centel again.
He made the catch across the 40-yard line. They're going to say he was out of bounds. Not able to get his foot down in bounds. That was a heck of a throw and a nice catch by Porter Centel. He just couldn't stay in bounds.
Just, twisted that body around, and when he happened to be the first thing hit, it was out of bounds, according to the refs.
And with that, Lafayette will have to punt it away. Rainwater, who has accounted for the Ramblers' points tonight, it came on a 32-yard field goal with 13 seconds remaining in the first half. Rainwater with a high snap. Now he'll get the kick away as Coahulla Creek came after it. A fair catch called for and made by Coahulla Creek. And that was a little nervous moment there for the Colts.
Off the shoe tops. Wow.
Coahulla Creek football when we return. 5:48 to go in the third quarter. The Colts with a 21-3 lead over LaFayette and Dr. Pepper. Friday Night Rivals presented by Jim.
On Storm Track 9.
Coahulla Creek with the ball now. 5:48 to go in the third. They've got a 21-3 lead as we get a look at our Dr. Pepper scoreboard here on Friday Night Rivals presented by Jax on the CW Chattanooga. After the game, you're going to want to get all the scores and all the highlights, and there's only one man that can bring it to you. That's our friend Josh Rowe with the sideline wrap-up. It's coming up at 10 o'clock on Fox Chattanooga, 11 o'clock on News Channel 9. You can find out which player had the dirtiest jersey, sponsored by Chattanooga Closet Company. No dirty jerseys here, Scott.
It's because that turf's so nice.
Playing on the carpet. So a first down and 10 for Coahulla Creek. They'll start in positive field position. They've got it at the 46-yard line, and here is Ward. Executes the fake, and he'll spin inside the 45-yard line, give him the 43, and a nice run by the quarterback and a nice read by Chase Ward. And that's something that his head coach said. He said he does a really good job of reading defenses.
Yes.
Drew Carter told us that about Chase Ward this week, and I think we saw him. He knew when to pull it and take off.
Also, to his credit, just did not just pull it and take off completely. He looked at the defense, read the blockers a little bit, and, of course, Cody Davis, 46, came up and got him on the turf. But that was a nice little run to pick up 4, and, again, keep that down and distance manageable.
It's Leidy in trouble now. Little
and
hesitation.
The for a loss.
The hesitation in the backfield got him.
Cody Davis once again.
And the Rambler defense closed in quickly on the sophomore.
Getting chippy.
Yeah, getting a little chippy out there. These, both coaches kind of mentioned this has kind of quickly become a real rivalry, now that they're all in the same region. Let's see what Mr. Whitehat has to say.
Officials will talk it over, and we'll get the call.
After the play, we have a personal foul against the defense. 15-yard penalty.
Well, again, there's another one of those.
Self-inflicted.
Another one of those mistakes by LaFayette that has plagued this team over the course of the season. And this will hurt. You're already allowing them to start a drive in plus territory.
Let's see if we can see it here. Of course, the play's back here to your left, but on the very right-hand side, oh, my goodness, that's the belly-to-belly suplex from Dusty Rhodes. And then a little bit more. Whew. Somebody must have been engaged in some vernacular, as they say.
That was not an exchange of Halloween greetings, I don't think.
No.
Offsides. Defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
There you go. Give them 20 yards. Back-to-back penalties, one of the 15-yard variety, and now this one of the 5-yard choice. And the football goes to the 26-yard line. And Coahulla Creek threatening here, up 21-3 as we get late in this third quarter. Ward brings Bradley in motion. He'll give it to him. Bradley makes the turn. Bradley to the 20, and Bradley down inside the 15-yard line.
Man, strong tackle from Blaze Stone, but not until Bradley just meanders his way down the field. Here's another penalty. Going back to what we were talking about, I would, if I was a high school football coach, it would drive me insane to try and...
After the play, we have a personal foul against the defense.
Again.
Penalty to be half the distance to the goal line, first down.
That was what I was going to say. It would be so hard to talk to 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids into realizing how bad this football is when you're a pretty good team. But you can't continue to do this and think that you're going to have success. You've got to control your emotions. That puts them squarely into the Dr. Pepper maroon zone. And I'm sure as a coach, you want to just say, listen to me. And I'm sure they do say that, but golly, sometimes it just doesn't sink in.
First down and goal from the 7-yard line. Bradley in the backfield with Ward.
Blitz.
And here comes Bradley to the near side. Bradley, touchdown, Coahulla Creek. The Colts are back on the board with 4 minutes to go in the third.
Ramblers sent somebody on defense as a blitz, but not enough to get Bradley back on the ground for the Chattanooga Dental Care touchdown. He scores right side of the end zone, right inside the pylon, putting that 6 points up to make it 27-3, pending the extra point.
That was a 4-play drive that was, look, they started in plus territory, and then they're aided by 3 LaFayette penalties, including 2 personal foul penalties.
That's 30 yards combined on 2. Oh, they're going for 2.
There's a bad snap, and the 2-point conversion attempt is no good. 27-3. 4:01 to go, third quarter. And Coahulla Creek back on the board again. It was a 4-play drive. Bradley with that 7-yard touchdown, and here it comes again. It's our nominee for our Goss Insurance play of the game. Look at Bradley. Right into your living room.
Holding that football out forward, trying to make it to the pylon. And he does.
It's 160 pounds, but a guy that plays a whole lot bigger than that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. Sure does.
Look at Drew Carter down on the sideline in his first year as a head coach. There's Andy Scott. Been on the sideline at Lafayette now for a couple of seasons. Told us this week they want to play inside the phone booth. They want to play physical, and he wants to get the ball to his best players as much as possible. You know, it goes back to something Damon Floyd at Bradley Central told us last week. He said there is definitely a pecking order.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They want to get the ball to Boo Carter, one of the best players in the state of Tennessee. And I think at Lafayette, they want to get the ball to Kalis Finley, who is a guy that's at the very worst, one of the best players in that region.
Certainly. And just the absolute workhorse, like you mentioned. Some games could be 30, 35, 40 carries.
We'll get a chance to see this Lafayette offense one more time. It's the short kick on the ground, fielded, covered it around the 36-yard line by Lafayette, and that's where the Ramblers will go to work on offense, starting at their own 36-yard line.
You know, that kick right there, though, is an impressive weapon. I mean, that guy can place it. I mean, that is just a nice touch off the toe.
A nice job by Bryson Cleghorn. Not always the easiest to field, as you see.
Especially when the defense are bearing down on you like they were. Nice play by the sophomore Cleghorn.
So from the 36-yard line, Ramblers put together a 8-play drive and forced a punt on their last possession. Here comes Finley. Hit right as he takes the handoff by Kane Guffey. Yeah, he's ridden down.
Guffey just read that one perfectly. Keene flying in there to get Finley on the ground. Again, we're talking about Guffey and Karim Bradley as being the 2 inside linebackers with a real high football IQ. There's Guffey, senior. Read the play perfectly and reacted quickly.
We've talked about all those Coahulla Creek linebackers tonight. Bradley, Guffey, Brogdon, Tilley. Seems like they've all made plays. And Finley in trouble. Able to slip out of a tackle. Here he goes. Finley popped hard now at the 40-yard line.
Stop was made by Tyler Douglas and Keith Collins, both the safeties. After, like you said, Finley spun out of the tackle. Thought it was a tackle for a loss, but he showed his athleticism and balance on that play.
How well you think that guy sleeps on a Friday night after 35, 40 carries?
I guarantee it's an ice bath Saturday morning. Oof. It would be for me, of course. Oh, to be young and spry.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Third down for the Ramblers. Pendergrass with the screen. It's complete here to the near side, out to the 41-yard line, and knocked down. That was Blaze Stone that made the catch.
Jude Goffrey thought it was going to be thrown to him, and Blaze Stone just kind of stepped in front of him and says, I'll take that.
Fourth down, Lafayette will punt it away. approaching 2 minutes to go in this third quarter. Rainwater, the high snap. He'll get it in. Here comes pressure as Levi Lowry nearly was able to get the block punt out of bounds inside the 20-yard line, and Coahulla Creek will start with a 1st and 10 at their own 19 after the Rambler punt. Lafayette goes 3 and out.
Credit Coahulla Creek's defense, too. They played really well tonight. Of course, Lafayette has helped them some with mistakes, but still, you mentioned their linebackers for the Colts, but really everybody's played well. We've called the safeties' names a bunch, and then we talked about their defensive front.
There's a look at that Coahulla Creek schedule. They get a Daresville next week. A Daresville, by the way, you talk about a good game in this region now. A Daresville and Bremen going at it tonight. Both of them 5-0 in region play. That is the de facto region championship game in 6-3A. To the 21-yard line on the handoff.
See big doses of Kareem Bradley right here, I believe.
Keep that clock running inside a minute 30. Dave Keelan, you talked about it a moment ago, just kind of that transition from Danny Wilson to Drew Carter. I think Coach Wilson, look, I've known Danny Wilson since he was the head coach at South Pittsburgh back in the 90s, but a guy that I think we all hated to see leave this position for what he was able to do and the way he was able to build things here at Coahulla Creek. A tough position, but look, this is a team that's on the verge of another playoff appearance.
Yeah, and Drew Carter said that when he's been an assistant on this team, so the transition was kind of seamless. So the verbiage and offensive things that they were able to do have been pretty much the same thing because he's the one that called the plays. He said the only transition, the only difference was that they moved the defensive coordinator, who was Danny, who called all the plays. They've had the biggest transition there, but it's still pretty much the core coaches. So this team is familiar with everybody that they're working with here. And one of the things that Coach Carter says, that pressure is a privilege. There was a couple of profound things that came out of that statement because he knows that this team last year set a precedence that none of these guys want to be the ones to go backwards. And that's what this program's looking to do in making their second playoff appearance.
Coahulla Creek 7-4 last year, their first ever trip to the postseason. They lost in the first round. Chase Ward will hand it off. Try the left side, stop for a loss. Loss of about a yard as the third quarter begins to wind its way down. We'll head to the final 12 minutes of action here from Coahulla Creek as the Colts with a 21-3 lead over the Ramblers from Lafayette. Fourth quarter action coming your way. We'll have more as we continue. It's Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals for the final time this season, presented by Jax. Back to Coahulla Creek after this on the CW Chattanooga.
482-4000.
Final quarter from Coahulla Creek. We get the fourth quarter underway with the Colts with a 27-3 lead over the Ramblers from Lafayette. Chris Goforth, Scott McMahon, Dave Keelan. Our final Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals presented by Jax of the season. We go back on the ground. Danny Leidy. Leidy, a guy that has gotten more carries as the season has gone on, and certainly he's been able to show up and show out a little bit tonight. He's yet to find the end zone, but he's played well.
Running strong. Well, that initial, you won't be able to see it on television, but that initial contact, somebody's mouthpiece went flying up in the air. I mean, that was a shot.
A win tonight by Coahulla Creek would get them over 500 on the year. It's the give. Again to midfield.
Leidy's just a tough runner, man. There is no two ways about that. Not greatly oversized. Look at him, number 4 there for the CHI Memorial first down. But, boy, he just keeps the leg drive going and has really good vision, finds the hole.
That's your future, right? I mean, Bradley's going to be gone after this year. Chase Ward's going to be gone after this year. Collins, Tilley, Sweeney, those wide receivers we've talked about tonight for Coahulla Creek, they're going to be gone. So this will be his show next year. Ward, pump fake now. Taking a shot, going deep, got a man, and it's incomplete. And there comes the penalty flag. Tilley, the intended target.
Boy, he had Keith Collins wide open in the flats, but he decided to just go ahead and take a shot deep.
Pass interference, defense. Result of the play is going to be a first down.
And this is classic case of the defender running with the offensive target and gets to the wide receiver before the ball does. So that's why the pass interference. And plus, he doesn't have his head turned around looking back at the ball. They're going to call that 100 times out of 100.
15-yard penalty, and the football goes to the 35-yard line.
Nice effort by Bryson Cleghorn. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he got to the ball, or got to the wide receiver before the ball could.
Coahulla Creek started this drive back at their own 19 following the LaFayette punt. And here's the give to Bradley. Check that. Ward will keep it. Ward has the 20, far sideline, and out of bounds at the 10.
Nice run by Chase Ward. CHI Memorial first down. And again, the dual threat. He saw a little sliver of light and said, I'll take this thing. Take it, he did. My goodness, what a gain. Making a real strong push for our player of the game here. Chase Ward, what a tremendous season so far. Holds it back. Just read that, saw the defender in his face. That was Nick Whitefield, the linebacker. Kept it himself, ran around the defense, and picked up huge gain.
Ward takes the high snap on the rollout. Caught from behind and thrown down. They got him behind the line of scrimmage and tossed him down for the loss. It was Logan Kendrick.
Yep, Logan Kendrick, number 9, all over it. Extremely fast guy, especially off the snap, defensive lineman.
Nearly 2 minutes gone in this fourth quarter. 8th play of the drive coming up for Coahulla Creek. Again, they started at their own 19 as you get a look at it on the replay. Kendrick with the tackle for loss. 2nd down and goal from the 15-yard line inside the Dr. Pepper maroon zone. Ward to Bradley. Bouncing off tacklers. Bradley gets inside the 10. Mark him at the 8.
Again, Logan Kendrick on the stop. But not before Kareem Bradley was able to get some good yardage. He said back inside the 10.
Yeah, mark him at the 9. It's 3rd and goal from the 9-yard line. Ward throwing for the end zone. Touchdown, Coahulla Creek, Luke Sweeney.
Luke Sweeney, the senior, tall, rangy kind of guy, and you saw what he can do when he gets in front of the football or between the football and the defender. Was able to catch it for the Chattanooga Dental Care touchdown.
$9:14 remaining in the fourth quarter. And that makes it 33-3 as we await the extra point. Coahulla Creek led it 21-3 at the half. They added a score in the 3rd. They've added the score and the extra point here in the 4th. 34-3, Coahulla Creek in control. 9:14 left to go. We'll return to the home of the Colts after this. Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals presented by Jax on the CW Chattanooga.
Platinum.
The Dr. Pepper scoreboard has Coahulla Creek on top of LaFayette, 34-3. We've got 9:14 remaining. 9:14 left in this one. A lot of football left to be played. You can get all the highlights of all the games coming up tonight with Josh Rowe and the sideline wrap-up. It happens at 10 o'clock on Fox Chattanooga, 11 on News Channel 9. You can also find out which player had the dirtiest jersey. That's sponsored by Chattanooga Closet Company. It's a 9-play drive. They go 81 yards, and Coahulla Creek back on the board to make it 34-3. Luke Sweeney with the reception from Chase Ward.
Fumble.
Loose football. Coahulla Creek's got it. Coahulla Creek comes up with the fumble. They'll take over inside the 30.
Carson Weaver comes up with it, number 6. There you see Weaver Fumble the kickoff by Parker Greco, and it just came straight through the breadbasket onto the turf. Weaver was there, Johnny on the spot. Now, if you're Coahulla Creek and Chase Ward and Kareem Bradley, you look at your teammates and say, let's put them away right here.
.909 to go. Coahulla Creek will take over. And a chance to put this one away. Second turnover of the night for Lafayette. They had a fumble back early in the first half. I formation. Ward comes under center. Here's Bradley. Tries to spin out of a tackle. Lunges inside the 30-yard line. Give him the 29.
Look at that teeth of that defense. Nick Sigalina was all over at 55. There's Nick, junior linebacker.
Well, the one thing about this Lafayette team, and Andy Scott, their head coach, touched on it in our conversation this week. He goes, you know, we don't stop playing. We keep playing. We keep fighting no matter what happens. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that from Lafayette here. Mistakes have been a problem. Penalties, 2 turnovers. Here's Bradley.
Like you said, penalties, turnovers, mistakes, but they don't quit. And that's a great trait to have in this game.
Michael Hamilton made the stop for Lafayette. It's third down. Coahulla Creek fighting for their playoff life here. They need to win this game, and then they'll look forward to next week at home against Adairsville. Adairsville taking on Bremen tonight in a matchup of a couple of 5-0 teams in region play. Here's Ward on third down. Being pressured now. Steps up. He's got room to run. He'll throw. Man open. Caught. Touchdown, Coahulla Creek. Keith Collins.
Great throw by Chase Ward, and Collins with a touchdown catch. It's a Chattanooga Dental Care touchdown. I thought the Lafayette Rambler defenders around Chase Ward, when he slipped and put the football on the ground, thought he was down, but referee did not indicate he was, and Chase Ward was able to step up in the pocket and find his man Keith Collins.
So the second Lafayette turnover turns into more points for Coahulla Creek. They have been able to score twice now off Lafayette turnovers. And the Colts extend the lead. And it is 41-3. Coahulla Creek with a lead over Lafayette. Week 9 of the regular season in Georgia. Both teams with one game remaining after tonight in the regular season. This is Dr. Pepper, Friday Night Rivals, presented by Jax on the CW Chattanooga.
Progress at Scott's Furniture in Cleveland.
Coahulla Creek with a 41-3 lead for Lafayette. It was 21-3 at the half, and Coahulla Creek put the game, really put it out of reach with about 4 minutes left in the third quarter. It's our Goss Insurance play of the game, and here it comes. Karen Bradley headed for the pylon and the end zone. 4:01 to go, third quarter. That made it 27-3, and that was the dagger. May have offsides on the kickoff.
Offsides against the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, free kick.
Do another Food City kickoff.
Yeah, if you had offsides on the kicking team on your bingo card tonight. I feel like we've seen everything but a face mask, I think. That's maybe the only thing we haven't seen in this one.
And a horse collar.
And a horse collar. Well, we don't want to see horse collars. No. People get hurt with horse collars. So Coahulla Creek will now kick it off from their own 35. Lafayette will bring everyone forward. Lafayette had an issue on the last kickoff. They fumbled it. Oh, and a nice kick.
Boom, that one.
Yeah, And that's a live ball scooped up at the 10-yard line, surrounded and dropped. And so Lafayette will start a drive, backed up deep, 7.5 to go. Fourth quarter, 41-3. Coahulla Creek with the lead. Scott, I mentioned it on our way to break just a minute ago, the fact that both of these teams have another game left. Lafayette takes on Ridgeland, who's still looking for their first win of the season. Ridgeland taking on Gordon Lee tonight, and then you've got Coahulla Creek. They're back here at home next week in this stadium in Adairsville. That'll be the final week of the regular season in Georgia. We've got postseason action starting in Tennessee next week. We'll actually have brackets to look at in the morning.
Yes, we will. And a lot of potential to get to Finley Stadium, that Blue Cross Bowl in early December.
Backup quarterback in for Lafayette. And on the keeper, it's Dax Edwards.
I think while we're winding this game up, South Pittsburgh's got a great chance.
Yep.
Right? Meigs County has a great chance.
Like it.
Like it. Marion County has a good chance.
Like it.
I think Bradley Central has a great chance.
Like it.
I think Baylor McCallie have a chance at a rematch at the state championship.
That's 6. We could have 6 of them in there.
It would have been Hickson, but Red Bank cheated last week, and I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You gotta stir that pot up, huh? No, kudos to Lovelace, that freshman quarterback that Red Bank's got. Boy, he's got a tremendous upside.
I'm just going to say, you can find him on X at Sport Talk Quake, all of you. All of you Red Bank folks, you know what to do.
X? What's that?
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
You can send it. He ain't checking it.
That's true.
I was going to say, Dave, he hadn't checked X since...
Well, you know what it was? I saw my last post.
Yeah.
It was Davis Toll's pro day with the Mocs.
There you go.
What was that, 2016?
About that.
15?
Yeah.
The last time Blake was on X, one of his tweets became relevant again this year.
Oh, my goodness.
It was a Northwest Ringgold game was one of his posts, and it was from so long ago that it came back to fruition this year.
Lafayette will take the snap from their own end zone. He's got time to throw over the middle, and it's incomplete just across the 20-yard line.
Almost picked off by Keith Collins.
Third down and long, 3rd and 19. Football back at around the 5-yard line for Lafayette. Again, with a win, Coahulla Creek tonight will improve to 5-4 on the year. They'll go to 4-2 in region play. We talked about it at the top tonight, the fact that they got a chance at getting back into the postseason again. Sounds like they need a little bit of help. Talking to the folks here at Coahulla Creek, they feel like they really need somebody to jump up and bite Ringgold before the year's over. And they need to keep winning, certainly doing their part tonight. Midway through this fourth quarter in a 41-3 lead.
Absolutely. Looking great.
And for Lafayette, the Ramblers, they will fall to 2-7 on the year. They'll get ready to face Ridgeland next week. And Ridgeland, a team, again, that is 0-8 going into a battle tonight with Gordon Lee.
And that's a head-scratcher to me also. I mean, as soon as Courtney Braswell left to go coach in college, that Ridgeland, yeah, I mean, it just fell off the cliff. And I know they've got athletes and a couple coaches have really tried, but for whatever reason.
Rainwater's punt straight up into the air, taken by Collins at the 30 to the 25. Collins down just shy of the 20-yard line. There comes a penalty flag. They came out late.
That again was Nick Sigalina on the tackle.
He just grabbed a handful of jersey and held on.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
That always gets your forearm burning a little bit.
Face mask against the kicking team. Those penalty yardage will be added to the end of the kick.
Face mask.
First down.
Well, there we go.
Check.
That's a bingo for somebody tonight.
That's right.
You want a nice set of steak knives. See Dave Keelan down on the field and claim your prize.
being minutes.
And we'll get a look at the face mask right there. We'll see a backup quarterback now for Coahulla Creek as well. Check that, Waylon Bayless.
Balaus. Thank you. Waylon Balaus gives it to Carson Weaver, who weaves his way through the defense for a nice gain.
Listen at you.
Balaus, a freshman, too, at number 5.
Well, look, and I know they're high on him here, and he's a guy that, Chase Ward's a senior. You're going to be looking to turn this thing over to somebody. And Balaus appears to be that guy for the Colts. Here comes Weaver. Check that. Balaus will keep it. He gets to the 5-yard line. And once again, another Coahulla Creek possession that starts in plus territory. Feels like they have had outstanding field position all night in this game.
Yeah, they really have, and have capitalized on it numerous times.
Second team unit that's in. Here's Balaus throwing for the end zone. Touchdown, Coahulla Creek, the freshman.
That? Wyatt Mann, also a freshman, with the reception. Chattanooga Dental Care touchdown. That was well played by Balaus to Wyatt Mann. Getting there. Mama, I'm going to put my name in the scorebooks tonight. Nice freshman, the future of Coahulla Creek football on display with that play.
3:50 left. Colts back on the board. And what a big night for Coahulla Creek here at home. It is 48-3. 3:50 left to go. It's time for us to get a look at our player of the game, or our play of the game tonight, I guess. We'll get to our player. There we go. And there he is. Coahulla Creek's Karen Bradley. He has been fantastic tonight. Couple of rushing touchdowns. Done his job defensively from that linebacker spot. And he is our player of the game. You see the tackle for loss. And here he comes again to the corner. Reaching for that pylon. And the touchdown. He's had a good night tonight for Coahulla Creek. Scott, I think we could have made an argument for maybe a couple of Colts to be our player of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. But Kareem Bradley, just such a versatile guy. As you mentioned, a great linebacker and running back. And he deserved it tonight. So kudos to Kareem Bradley.
Bradley's played well to help his team get over the 500 mark. Now 5-4 in about 3 minutes and 50 seconds here with a 45-point lead. Here's Greco from the 10-yard line to the 20, to the 30, to the 40. He goes down at about the 41-yard line.
Number 20. Greco on the return.
Got an explanation why we don't have a running clock.
Holding against the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Nice return by LaFayette. It's coming back on the holding penalty. Let's head down to the field and check in. Dave Keelan. Dave.
Yeah, I just talked to the guys here on the sideline and asked why we weren't in the running clock. According to the Georgia state rules, if you are not up by 30 by the end of the third quarter, they do not do a running clock in the fourth quarter. That's why we haven't seen the running clock here in the fourth quarter, even though Coahulla Creek is up 48-3 right now.
Our officials up here in the booth said that both coaches have to agree to it as well. So
Mark off for the penalty. The ball moves back inside the 30-yard line, and LaFayette will take over with 2:40 and ticking. From the 27. Quick throw on the screen. It's caught. That was Jude Godfrey who made the catch. Picks up a couple of yards down the far sideline. Well, Scott, as we get set to wrap things up for this season of Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals, let's take a moment and say thank you to some of our sponsors, the good folks at Dr. Pepper, Jack's, TVFCU, Goss Insurance, John's Recycling, and Chattanooga Dental Care. They make it just a small part of the group that makes it possible here on the CW Chattanooga for us to bring you these local high school football games on Friday night. That always able to bring some of the best games. We had Bradley Cleveland last week. First time we've been able to do that. Of course, we get Baylor McCallie every year. That's kind of an annual event for us, and always a fun one. And
no question.
You know, we get your alma mater this year, Hickson, back on the schedule. I know you lobbied hard for that.
That was fun. I love what Nick Rivers is doing over there. I really do. I think he's got some players in the pipeline for a couple of years, too.
Third down here for the Ramblers. The keeper to the corner, Dax Edwards. Close to the first down. Depends on where they mark the football. Looks like they'll give it to him.
CHI Memorial with about 1 minute left in the game here.
Edwards again looks to throw. Now he'll run to the sideline. Got to get out of bounds. Clock continues to run. Picks up another CHI Memorial first down. They'll mark the football. Move the chains. Ball moves into Colts territory now at the 46.
Edwards probably the future of LaFayette football at quarterback position since Dax Edwards there, Dawson Pendergrass being the senior.
Could be the final play. Edwards with the screen. And breaks a tackle. It's Godfrey far sideline. Godfrey gets inside the 30-yard line. And with 14 seconds left, another first down for LaFayette.
CHI Memorial first down as the clock begins to tick.
Well, let's see if they can get another snap off here in the final few seconds. Final play here, Edwards throwing for the end zone. And there comes the penalty flag. This will be pass interference, so we're not done yet. Hang on.
Down.
Yep.
Pass interference. Defense. 15-yard penalty. 1 untimed try.
So give them 15 yards and one more crack at it. Ball will move inside the 15. They'll put it at the 14-yard line. Final shot here for LaFayette. Sophomore, Dax Edwards, looking at the end zone. Rolling. Throws on the run. It's caught. Touchdown, Lafayette. The touchdown pass to Porter Sintel, the sophomore.
Get it done. There you go. And that's going to be something that Dax Edwards can work on and be, proud of and say, hey, man, the future is here, and Porter Sintel's a sophomore as well, so those guys could be the hookup for the next 2 years down at Lafayette. course, still one game to play in the regular season, but then probably turn the keys over to that combination.
It's a couple of sophomores.
Like his Mac plate, Filthy Rich. I love that. Porter Santel showing a little favor there.
48-9. That's your final score. That's our ball game. Both coaches look to shake hands at midfield. Dave Keelan will have a final word with Drew Carter, the head coach at Coahulla Creek, as the Colts improve. They are 5-4 on the year, 4-2 in region play, while LaFayette drops to 2-7 overall, 1-5 in region play. You stay with us. We've got more. Back to Coahulla Creek after this on Dr. Pepper Friday Night Rivals, presented by Jax on the CW Chattanooga.
Fast, friendly service.
48-9. That's your final score. Coahulla Creek with an impressive victory over the LaFayette Ramblers on our Dr. Pepper scoreboard. Chris Goforth, Scott McMahon, Dave Keelan here from Coahulla Creek. And Quake, look, LaFayette able to hang in for a little while. Too many mistakes tonight, and ultimately the Colts just pulled away with a nice win.
Sure did. I mean, they gave them opportunities, Lafayette did, but Coahulla Creek capitalized on it, mainly in part by that guy right there, Karim Bradley. What a night for you, Karim. Enjoy this one, my man, with your teammates tonight.
All right, let's send it down to the field. Dave Keelan standing by with the winning team.
Well, Coach Drew Carter, impressive win for you guys. What kind of win is this for your season so far?
Well, it's big for two reasons. The fact that we were able to bounce back from last week, a disappointing loss, and we challenged them this week, and I think they responded. And then maybe even bigger than that was, you know, we keep our playoff hopes alive, and that was the goal. And here we are. We've given ourselves a chance.
You did a fantastic job in the second half of finishing this win. I know that you knew how dangerous Lafayette could be, especially after what they did last week. What kind of statement does this say for your team as far as finishing a game?
Again, we challenged them at halftime, so that was big. So it's big for their maturity, being able to handle that. I mean, it would have been easy for us to come out here unfocused second half, that we were up a few scores, and we didn't do that. So that shows our maturity and our level of intensity going into the second half.
Well, Coach, I want to present you with our final champion trophy here. I don't know if the guys have seen this yet, but you guys have earned this. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
Winning night here in Coahulla Creek, guys, as Drew Carter and the Colts celebrate a 48-9 win over Lafayette, keeping their playoff hopes alive. And it's, for me, guys, it's been an honor.
Always, Dave Keelan, always. It's been another fun season for us, and we thank those that make it possible, our sponsors,